forth through the fans pregame live. It is Cecil and Mase, it is Andrew Mason, it is Denver Broncos, and it is Kansas City Chiefs. Mase, I'm trying to stay positive today. I just hope they don't get embarrassed. But we got to talk about players they won't be having today, including Cortland Sutton and Dalton Risner, two big names that won't play today.
Yeah, Dalton Risner learned last night, the first report by Mike Kliss, that the shoulder and back issues are going to keep him out. That means an eighth different starting offensive line combination for the Broncos. Risner, the only offensive lineman who would start each of the first 12 games. And, oh, by the way, for the offense as a whole, now there isn't one Broncos player on offense who started all 13 games this season between Sutton and Risner being out. Underscores just how banged up this team is. But, here we go. The Broncos remain banged up. The Chiefs are not going to have Kadarius Toney for this game, but they're about as healthy as they've been all year.
Right. They're about as healthy as they've been all year, and they can get after you on both sides of the ball. So if you're the Broncos today, this is your greatest challenge for this defense. And I know there's hidden numbers, Mase. You and I talk about it in orange and blue today. No one's really had to put their foot on the gas against the Broncos because you don't need to. The offense can't score. So this defense hasn't really been tested the way they will be tested today because Kansas City, it doesn't matter if the Broncos don't score. I think Kansas City puts their foot on the gas, and that's dangerous.
Yeah, especially coming off of last week. I mean, this is a team that generally doesn't lose 2 games in a row. The Broncos are going to get K1 Williams back today in all likelihood, and that's going to help things out in terms of coverage. They really missed him the last few weeks. But, this is a bigger test. I mean, really, if you're trying to limit the Chiefs offensively, that is as much on your own offense as anything else. I get into it on my numbers piece at denverfan.com that when Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs have struggled to get wins, when they've basically been a 500 team or even worse than that, is when teams have been deliberate. They've run 48% of the time. They've controlled the clock for anywhere from 30 to even 35 minutes or more in the game. The Broncos need to come out and play a tempo game. Of course, the key to that is they've got to convert third downs. They've got to extend drives in a better way than they have over the course of the season.
Yeah, they have to extend drives. And then I said this on the pregame show with Noshawn Moreno. If you hold the Chiefs to a field goal, that's a win. If you yourself drive and then get a field goal, that's a loss. You need touchdowns today.
Exactly. And I think we will see the Broncos hold the Chiefs to some field goals. I mean, that's actually been their MO in recent years. And they run, obviously, a very similar defense to the one they ran under Vic Fangio, is allow the Chiefs to get yards, but not points. The Broncos, to their credit, have done that better than just about anybody that's faced the Chiefs on more than a one-off basis over the last few years, and that has kept games competitive. The problem for the Broncos offense is that they have not been able to do enough to capitalize on it. So you kind of, the game plan, and we've seen it at least partially work, but generally speaking, the Broncos have been too devoid of offense to complete the gig.
He is Andrew Mason. You follow him on Twitter at Mase Denver. It is the Fans Pregame Live. Mason, I know you got to run. Any final thoughts before we let you out of here today?
I got to say this. There were an alarming number of Patrick Mahomes jerseys in the parking lot as I drove through and parked and then walked over to the stadium this morning. And then when they started letting fans in, because they opened the gates at noon for a 2:05 kickoff, as today's game is going to be, awful lot of Chiefs jerseys. There's going to be a discomforting amount of red in the stands today. It may look a lot like it did last year in Week 18 when the Broncos were closing it out. And you looked on the far side of the stadium and saw a heck of a lot of red there behind the Chiefs bench. So that's not good. Hopefully the Broncos can give everybody something to cling to and something positive here. Pull off an upset. I mentioned this morning, Cecil, on my Twitter feed. 34 years ago, Week 14, I was at a game where a 3-win Bucs team, 3-10, upset an 11-2 Buffalo Bills team by a final score of 10-5, the only 10-5 final in NFL history. So Week 14, 3-win team out of it, both of them on their 6th consecutive losing season. Maybe we get a little bit of a recurrence of history and I see something that I've seen before. I'd love to see Colorado have the same kind of memory of that day that I have.
How did the Bucs do it? Super quick. I know you got to run.
Okay. Their defense played out of their mind.
Okay, yeah, hold them to 5 points. Yeah,
they had a goal line stop, and I believe they intercepted Jim Kelly 2 or 3 times. Now, the other part of the equation that doesn't exist today, that Bills team was banged up. This Chiefs team is not banged up, unfortunately.
Nope. Healthy and dangerous, just like Andrew Mason all the time. Mase, go forth and be awesome, my friend. We'll talk soon.
You too. I'll see you on Monday for Orange Blue Today, 3:30 Mountain Time. Join us then.
Look at you, professional, right there. He's Andrew Mason, ladies and gentlemen, live from Empower Field at Mile High. I am Cecil and Mase, live from the mountains of Roxborough, Colorado, going like, please don't be embarrassed today. For the love of God, I try to stay positive through this. We know it's been bad. It's been really bad for Broncos fans out there. So today, the challenge of the defense, I think, is the greatest thing to talk about. We know the offense challenges themselves. The offense themselves, their biggest opponent is Russell Wilson, and the offensive line, and no Dalton Reisner, and no Cortland Sutton. There's a ton of things to get to there, and I don't think we should expect much. It's not like all of a sudden they're going to blow up for 24 points, right? Oh my God, where was this all year? I don't think that's going to happen. Anything is possible. Kevin Garnett said that years ago, but what's likely? It's possible, but is it likely? No, it's likely that they score about 13, 14 points. It's likely that they get their ass kicked. It's likely that they get embarrassed. So I hope it's not those things. I hope they can score a little more. I hope they can hold them down a little bit more. I hope that they're not embarrassed. I hope that it doesn't hurt too much today, but it just might against Kansas City. And Kansas City, as Mase mentions, mostly healthy. McCole Hardman is a little bit banged up. And I always say, stop trying to make Fetch a thing. Stop trying to make McCole Hardman a thing. Well, they don't need to make McCole Hardman a thing because they have, Sky Moore and Justin Watson and Marcus Valdes-Scantling and Juju Smith-Schuster. They love hyphenated players. My God. Juju Smith-Schuster, Marcus Valdes-Scantling, Clyde Edwards-Helaire, who's also banged up. But still, you have Isaiah Pacheco, who, if you've listened to me at all over the last 8 months, 9 months, whatever, Isaiah Pacheco is a baller. And I don't know why the Broncos didn't draft him. Whatever. So they can run. It's like when Happy Gilmore learned how to putt. It's like, yeah, that's a problem. That's a problem for teams out there. It's a problem because Kansas City has designs on making a Super Bowl run, and they are no longer the number 1 seed. The loss to Cincinnati last week put the Bills, who are having a tough time in a downpour right now against the Jets, or at least before I started the show, as I was watching the Red Zone. But okay, so now if it's Kansas City, let's say the Jets are able to pull something off with Buffalo and bring them back down. Kansas City's going to be really dialed into what's going on. They're going to be really, and it's 7-0 at halftime, Bills over the Jets. But that's a game to watch because the Bills and the Chiefs are going to be going back and forth as in terms of who's that number 1 seed. And if the Bills falter and the Jets win, then the Chiefs win, then they're back in the number 1 seed. And that's the lone bye. See, that's what good teams talk about. They talk about competing and getting that playoff positioning. Well, it's really important between Kansas City and Buffalo, what's going on right now. So when they lost last week, the Chiefs lost to the Bengals, it's bad news for the Broncos because now they're not overlooking you. Not that they would be anyway, and it's not like the Broncos can put up much of a fight, but it's now they're definitely going to be dialed in because they have no room for error. They have Buffalo a game ahead of them, and you have Buffalo just continuing on with that tiebreaker. Now you've got to catch up with them. And to do that, they've got to keep winning. And to do that, they've got to beat Denver today. The Bills have to beat the Jets today. Again, 7-0 at halftime, Bills over the Jets, but that's a downpour. And the Jets have been getting after Josh Allen just from what the brief time that I watched that game today. So if you're the Denver Broncos, you have a team with Super Bowl designs. You have a team with the best quarterback in football, arguably, whatever you got to say, tons of receiving weapons. I didn't even get to Travis Kelce yet. And Isaiah Pacheco, who they can run, and Jet McKinnon, who is a great runner and receiver out of the backfield himself. So they have multiple ways to beat you. If you're going to take away Kelce, let's say they either put Pat Surtain on Kelce, which I wouldn't recommend necessarily, but it's an option. Aqib Talib used to cover Rob Gronkowski years ago, and it was good. It was solid, to be sure, and he'd make plays against Gronk, and that was fun to watch. So maybe Surtain can do that against Kelce. I don't think they do that, but maybe. You've got your linebackers, maybe because Josie Jewell can't cover and Alex Singleton can't cover, They can tackle all day. They're great against the run. They're terrible in coverage. So maybe you bring a Justin Simmons over the top and you're bracketing Kelce everywhere. Make someone not named Travis Kelce beat you. Because if you look at what Cincinnati did defensively, they got pressure with 4. They don't blitz. You blitz Pat Mahomes and he'll kill you. He'll crush you. You do not blitz Pat Mahomes whatsoever at all. Period, point blank. Full stop, right? People like saying that. Full stop. Don't blitz Pat Mahomes. Full stop. So, okay, get pressure with the 4. Take Kelce away. I think Kelce, last week, 50 yards, whatever the number was. Like, Kelce didn't beat the Bengals. And the Bengals have beat the Chiefs 3 times in a row. 3 times in a row, the Bengals have beat the Chiefs. So how do they do it? They take Kelce away. They get pressure with 4. They make other people try to beat you. And those other people didn't beat them 3 times in a row. So if you're the Broncos, take a little bit of the game plan, steal it, borrow it, I should say, and then utilize it if you can. So if that's Simmons over the top with one of those linebackers underneath, and you bracket cover Travis Kelce, I guess. If you let Kelce get free, he's going to, you're just done. You're done. Your best chance of winning today defensively is not letting Kelce just kill you. So if you can do that, and then Mahomes has to like dink and dunk or just go to other people, that's better for you, for your coverage and for your defense. Then if you look at the offensive side of the ball, because Kansas City can run, and Colorado Sports Dude says maybe Russ should throw 60 times today. I would actually go the opposite of that. Russ needs to throw like 25 times today. That would be nice. I don't think it's going to happen. Here's the way to beat Kansas City then. And Kansas City is beatable. That's the thing. Like, Kansas City's greatest in the league, or best team in the AFC, whatever you want to say. Like, but they are beatable. I don't think the Broncos can do it because I don't trust the coaches to do it. Because what you should do is under center and run the ball down the throat. And the middle of the field's going to be open. Now, the last 3 games, the Chiefs are like 10th in the league against the run. Excuse me, they're 22nd in the league against the run. There's 10 spots from 32. So they're 22nd against the run. Over the whole season, they're 6th against the run. So season long, they're really good against the run. But the last 3 weeks, they've been gashed, including last week by a backup running back, a good backup running back, one of my favorites, my motorboat rookie of the year, Samaje Perine. So, yes, when Perine came out of college, I love the guy because he's a big back, and I love big backs. I cannot lie. But that was a backup running back. So it wasn't even Joe Mixon last week. So the Bengals ran the ball. They got pressure with 4. They took Kelce away, and they won. And it was close. And that's what you're going to have to. You're not running away from Kansas City. If there's any way the Broncos win this game, they're not running away from Kansas City. They can't do that. 1 and 2. That's never going to happen. So it's going to have to be a close game. You have to almost kind of lull Kansas City to sleep. And you have to make sure that Pat Mahomes maybe gets frustrated because you're dinking and dunking. Mahomes wants to throw a touchdown on every pass. He's just built that way, where he wants to go deep, he wants to strike, he wants to attack. And when you have to, and he's been better at this now, he's been better at this largely because of Cincinnati. But when he has to dink and dunk, when he has to take short to intermediates, he senses a frustration. It's almost like he puts pressure on himself that's not even there. So with Mahomes, it's a little reverse psychology, a little kung fu, whatever you say. Like, you just got to kind of use their strength against them. Like, you're super high powered, but if you have to be methodical, maybe they don't want to be because they are so high powered. And maybe you can use that to advantage. Maybe there becomes some frustration when he's trying to go for the big play and it's just not there. So there are ways to win. It's just, are the Broncos capable of doing that? I don't think so. And I hope it's not too much. I hope it's like, and this is so pathetic that I'm saying this, but this is just the truth. Like, I hope it's like 28-13. I hope it's not 35-3. I hope it's not even more than that to 3 or 10 or whatever. Keep it close for half if you can, please. Like, give us something to watch. Don't let that sea of red from Kansas City kind of overtake and power field at Mile High. We shall see. I think everyone on the station's picking the Chiefs. It's no surprise there. Can the Broncos pull the upset? Of course. It's possible. But is it likely? Not at all. Not at all. We've got halftime show coming up for you. We have our fan post-game show coming up for you on our digital platforms. I want to thank everyone for watching. Let's go Broncos. Thanks to Mase for joining the show. Thanks to Sydney for running the show on the backside. And I'm Cecil and Mase saying, please don't hurt too much. Stay tuned and stay frosty.